Hello and welcome to Ultimate Moves. The Sinquefield Cup might be over, but we've got an exciting event today featuring all of those elite players.
Definitely, the true competition is about to start, I think, as we have the classic matchup of Randy Sinquefield against Rex Sinquefield here in the St. Louis Chess Club.
And Maurice Ashley is with Tony Rich, the executive director here at the club, to explain it all.
But what happens when you take 10 of the best players in the world, tossed in a former world champion by the name of Garry Kasparov, Yasser Seirawan, one of the great legends of the game, and have them play against two, modest players, we'll call it, Rex Sinquefield and Randy Sinquefield, as they continue their rivalry in Blitz, tag team chess. There's going to be chaos here today. Oh, that old tournament, the Sinquefield Cup, that's long gone. Well, Tony Rich is here to explain to us exactly what the format is. Tony, exactly how have you designed this so that there's maximum chaos?
Oh, absolutely. I made sure to invite Rex Sinquefield so that he would make sure that everything kind of blows up at the board. The players will rotate out every 5 moves, kind of like tag team. Rex and Randy will start sitting at the board playing. Once they make their 5 moves, they'll rotate out. Next up for Rex will be Garry Kasparov. Next up for Randy will be Wesley So. And they'll keep rotating through every 5 moves like that. If the game goes long enough, we'll rotate back in Rex and Randy, and I'm sure they'll find a way to blow up the position again.
Now, officially, what are the rules? Is it FIDE rules? We saw Rex have a little hiccup in the first year.
That's right. If you recall, I had to forfeit Rex and former world champion Garry Kasparov, which was not necessarily the most exciting time, but I've been told to keep the rules strict. So, touch move, illegal move loses. Pawn promotion done improperly, like last year, will lose also. So we will follow strict rules on this. We have our chief arbiter, Tracy Vibert, here to make sure that all the players follow the rules.
Well, it's supposed to be a good time, but these players are serious. You saw when Rex made that illegal move, they jumped all over him. They just want to win, so we should have a lot of fun. Oh, and by the way, trash talking is allowed.
Trash talking is allowed. I think trash talking is encouraged, as some of these players, well, they're going to try to psych out their opponents.
And here's one of our team captains, Randy Sinquefield. You recognize the name.
Grandmaster Randy Sinquefield.
The Grandmaster. Wow, promotion. He is the founder of Spectrum Studios, which puts together this production every year.
Absolutely, and I've seen Randy play. I know that he's been practicing for the event. He's feeling the pressure, though.
Oh, of course. I mean, I actually find it admirable that these guys do this every year. I mean, I know if I was on a team with any of these players, I'd be pretty terrified myself of blundering something.
Yeah, some of the best chess players in the world, but they understand that they got to pick it up. They'll start with the first 5 moves, Randy and Rex, so I think they'll be able to survive that one easily.
Oh, yeah.
But the next round, when they come back, that's the true test.
That's right, and a lot of the strategy is about setting them up well for that 5 moves. First of all, not getting into time pressure. That's huge. You want to make sure that the Sinquefields, when they come back in, have a couple minutes, right?
And it's a much faster time control than we had last year, so they have to be very careful. We're playing in the same format that we had in the Blitz tournament for the U.S. Championship, 5 minutes with 3-second delay.
That's right, and we've got Maurice Ashley with more info on what we're about to see.
Well, we actually have a bit of a challenge already. Fabiano Caruana is missing from the building. They're trying to track him down now. Without a player, obviously, there'd be nobody to make moves. So they're trying to track him down to get him as quickly as possible into the playing hall so that we can continue. We'll see and let you know what exactly happens.
Wow, Fabiano, of course, the Sinquefield Cup champion from 2 years ago.
But it's always the local guy that's late, right? It's always the local guy that's late. I mean, yes, he's staying at the Chase Park Plaza, the hotel across the street, basically.
So we'll get him in here. Fabi, go check yourself. We've got Team Rex, which is going to be Rex Sinquefield starting the play, followed by Garry Kasparov, legend of the game, Fabiano Caruana, Hikaru Nakamura, and then we've got Anish Giri, Ding Loren, and Peter Svidler. So we're actually going to get them to see them all play moves today. It's going to be really exciting. Randy's team includes our champion, Wesley So, Vishny Anand, Veselin Topalov, Maxime Bashir-Lagrave, Levon Aroni, and Yasser Seirawan, and I'm hearing cheers all throughout the club because that's an old school pick of Mr. Randy Sinquefield, who used to be and kind of still is a surfer dude.
No, definitely a surfer.
That's right.
Goes to Costa Rica every year.
Yeah, but now that he goes to Costa Rica, goes back to Malibu, and that's where he grew up, and really he caught the surfing bug.
Well, how we track down Fabiano, that seems to be the main challenge right now.
Main question indeed. And we are going to be using the hashtag Ultimate Moves for this competition. So goodbye, Sinquefield Cup. Hello, Ultimate Moves.
I think this is the most fun event I've really ever seen. You have these two amateurs just throwing in a wrench. Great chess players, but they just not only love competition, but they're very jovial. They like playing this kind of for fun chess.
It's my favorite format, actually. I love the introduction. I mean, I play poker as also. Adding that randomness is really fun, but at the same time, you see a real chess game. And
Look at
Fabiano
that sheepish
Caruana,
smile.
I'm sure he's feeling excited about his team. I mean, he comes late and he finds out that his partner is Garry Kasparov. That can't be the worst feeling in the world.
So we have the two main players that everybody cares about what happens today. They have no pressure on them. Actually, they have all the pressure on them in the world. Randy Sinquefield, the son of Rex Sinquefield. Randy, the score is 1-1 between you and your dad. How are you feeling about this year, the grudge match?
I feel great. Look at my team. Look at us. We're organized. We're calm. We're happy. Look at these guys. They're late. They're disorganized. I don't know what's going on over here. He's in trouble. He's in trouble.
Rex, is it important that you win today?
Of course it's important, and I'll echo Randy. Look at his team. Look at his team. We're going to crush him. Look at this. Look, this is your one last chance. You guys can resign right now.
The trash talking has begun, folks. So we're going to get the rules going. The players will start, and we'll get much more trash talking coming as the games begin.
The interesting thing is both players actually got their dream teams. I was talking to Randy before the event, and this is exactly the team he wanted.
That's great. That's right. Everybody wins. I mean, although with these players, you can't really lose, can you?
And we've got the game going. Game number 1 here, pretty normal Spanish.
Roy Lopez here. Garry with bated breath, hoping that Rex plays Bishop A4.
Ooh. Definitely influenced by... Oh, is that 5+1? Yes.
And the new team has
the players
Garry
come up.
Kasparov with the winner of the Sinquefield Cup, Wesley So. Wesley famously said that Garry actually was somebody he studied before the Sinquefield Cup. He's a big fan, and he was quite honored to be next to Garry Kasparov at the closing ceremonies.
Wow, this already looks a little bit dangerous for Black, I think. This early B5 move known to be a little bit of a mistake.
Yeah, but not that easy to take advantage of, unless you're Garry Kasparov.
Well, we'll see. He's an attacking genius.
It looks like the time control is actually a delay as opposed to a 3-second increment, so it's definitely a delay.
I think Wesley's confused about getting up or not.
Wesley So already standing up, anticipating Garry's next move. Garry relishing the moment, and he is castled. And 96 on the board, and now it's and Fabiano Caruana, past winner is Fabiano Caruana, but Vichy Anand coming in second place, tied for second in the event.
Time advantage already being built up.
Time it for Black. That could be dangerous. Fabi's playing very quickly. Ooh, what's this?
Garry Kasparov already shaking his head about what's happened so far. Garry, what's your opinion of White's game? Garry doesn't want to answer. Garry had no words. And somehow, Anand got up, but after only 4 moves played, he had to be rushed back to the board as there's one more move for Caruana. And everybody's already deathly silent.
Very hard choice for Fabiano right now.
And Topalov is happy. He's cheering in this moment. What are your thoughts, Yasser, about what's happening so far?
Oh, that's excellent. Most excellent. We've got exactly the strategy that we prepared for. We had it on our computer this morning.
Topalov felt like a mistake was made. G5, a stronger move for Black, but it didn't happen. And now Nakamura going on the assault. Levon, what are your chances in this position?
I think we're winning.
As Black.
Yes, I like this is positional masterpiece. Yeah. He knows these positions. He studied them when he was little. And I'm very confident. Very confident.
Peter, this is your first time here to even experience the Sinquefield Cup. Now you're in this craziness. What's your thoughts about it?
Well, I'm enjoying it because I don't have to play this position with white, so that's awesome. I might not actually get the chance, so.
You're saying it's that bad that you think white's already lost?
We may have stabilized now. I don't know. We'll see.
Let's go.
Fabi, you showed up late. Did you not want to come to this today? Was there some trash talking involved you were trying to avoid?
Yeah, I was a bit late. That's probably the reason that we have this position. I feel like I caused some consternation amongst the ranks.
All right, here comes Garry is in, and Maxime Vacher-Lagrave, a famous blitz specialist. By the way, these gentlemen were up late last night playing Bug House. Late into the night, fucking 3 o'clock in the morning when I left. They were still playing, so that was their preparation for today.
Yeah, I'm trying to put pieces on the board, yeah? Give me some
You're doing surprisingly well. You're doing surprisingly well. I thought I wasn't going to get to play any moves, but
yeah.
we are in the game. We're simply having an attack right now. So.
You're back.
Randy.
Garry is famous for his comebacks.
All right, Garry, I'm going to ask you again. What do you think about White's position?
It's probably a bit better than before, but
Not by huge margin.
I don't know.
All right, Garry hasn't gotten into his full trash talking mode just yet.
I'm happy.
I should
Yeah, sorry.
I think my attacking instincts don't betray me this time.
I think they did.
Looks like it looks like the white side is feeling quite good about themselves suddenly, about some potential.
You are not the right person to deliver the final blow. Yeah, the specialist here. You see silence. You see silence. Dead silence.
Yeah, it looks like this team is not talking. You're going to stand up for yourself?
We have to give him some time to find the forced win.
Okay, but we will easy winning 2 moves. Come on.
Yes.
It's not. You'll tell it, you know, in post-mortem analysis.
I don't see the win. I don't see what's easy about it.
All right, there's a lot of bluffing going on right now. I think it's poker.
Can we call off friend?
No, I mean.
What?
That's what. If you try to C5, good. With next bishop F4. And then rook E6, knight A2. I mean, I wasn't sure. What's wrong with knight E4? Knight E4, bishop D4.
All right. All right, analysis going on. And Black is up in exchange for the moment.
Okay, but now they weaken the
Yes,
the knight.
How many moves?
Knight is not
that's 25.
Avoid, you know, pins, you know.
Garry Kasparov giving his approval to the young charge. And that's it. The 5th move played by Anish Garry. And now it's Ding Liren coming down into the seat. Ding, do they do any trash talking in China? Are you allowed to talk during games?
Very complicated.
Ding doesn't want to say anything. They have some kind of decorum that we don't have in the United States.
So I want to get those positions a piece down. Now I have extra material. So.
Nice. This is my last move, and now I'm out.
Levon, you're a good defender. We know it.
Yes. But it's good that you know it, but maybe he doesn't know it.
My opponent doesn't know it. Make him know it.
We have to go.
And the time is still plenty of time on the clock. They both have over 2 minutes, both sides.
Offense is the best defense, and LeBron knows that's perfect.
In such a position, all moves are good.
LeBron is a martial attack player.
Yes.
Martial with extra.
This is martial defense, I think, here.
And now,
Hikaru, you've been quiet this whole time. What's your opinion of what's been going on?
We're winning, of course.
now we got to make.
Ever confident Hikaru Nakamura?
Whoops.
And finally, the time is starting to tick down and equalize just a little bit. 2 minutes and 1 second for White. 2 minutes and only 16 seconds and ticking down. They had about a minute edge earlier, but it's going to start getting a bit closer as it gets tense. And F4 has been played.
We have to do this. We have to create space for our pieces.
I think Bing is considering to offer a throw. What was that, Garry?
This is the best move in the position.
This is not the best move.
With time, everybody will...
White wanted to play F4.
You can step in front of me.
It takes time for you to understand.
Not exactly. It took me time. I'm just trying to get made.
This move has befuddled the Chinese #1, and his clock has ticked for over 30 seconds on this one pawn sacrifice. And he's thinking about it still, costing them on the clock. And he declined to capture the pawn. Backing
he
up.
understands the dangers.
No, but me and Garry, we still decline. I mean,
Hey.
No moves allowed. No suggesting moves. No suggesting ideas allowed during the game.
They just lose like this.
No ideas can be suggested during a game whatsoever. But it's clock ticking, and it's now
yeah, they're still almost winning, probably.
applause for Vasilin's last move.
Oh no. What's happening?
Okay, a switch, and now Peter Spindler and Yasser Sirwan, our very own commentator, and it's their turn. There's only 1 minute 11 seconds for White. They're gonna have to speed up as they made their 2 moves in a row. And Rex Sinquefield and Randy will come in to play a cleanup at the end of this. We'll see how it goes as the time starts to tick down quickly. Equal material, 110 and 1 versus 136. White is down on the clock.
You're not making me until they get excited.
And that's it. And now Rex Sinquefield coming to the board. He will have to play the next 5 moves.
Yes, good.
And Yasser is playing, and here comes Randy. 5 moves now from these players. Can they maintain the tension that the Grandmasters played? Now G3 on the board. 58 seconds left on the clock to 130 for black. And the players are feeling the tension right now.
Don't let him go.
You got in corner. No, if that's gonna go AP.
And so power moves. And Rex Sinquefield down to only 56 seconds. He's gonna have to find a plan.
Wow.
And Rex plays move H4. Kasparov not looking happy about the situation, but it's all about the clock now. Can the players play good moves with the clock ticking down? And and a capture, and they've gone on still almost a minute plus. This last move for Rex Sinquefield, and he's traded rooks. And Garry Kasparov is happily coming to the board, intimidating Randy after knight takes, and now takes on A5, a pass pawn for White.
Very much so.
And top GMs now at the board. Very difficult position to have to deal with. Garry already kissing this one goodbye. But only 48 seconds on the clock for White. I'm pretty sure they think they can handle this situation. Fabi, what do you think about this?
Absolutely over. I think Rex did an amazing job. Won a pawn, and now there's two pass pawns. Just
Rex, they're giving you all the credit for this. How do you feel hearing this from the GMs, crediting your move?
Well, I feel bad for Black. Black should resign. Save himself some honor and dignity. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't see a problem. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see a problem here, bro.
Hey, Tom, cool. I'm going to move the
Hitters
robo.
coming in. It is Vishwanathan Anand having to defend this with the black as Fabiano Caruana advances his F-pawn down the board. And it looks like black feels confident about their chances again.
Why? Why are you really confident about the chance?
How many queens do we need?
No. It's Fabi won. No, it is. It is. Unfortunately, it is. It is really. It's really easy.
R-E-S-I-G-N. It will be absolutely illegal move for
Vishwanathan's clock ticking down. He's only 11 seconds left. He's got to make a move at some point. Ticking down.
Wow.
And he's advanced with the move C5. White with 30 seconds plus. The knight had to drop back.
No respect to wishes, really goes.
King marching in. And now D4 attacking the bishop. 6 seconds. Bishop to A5. Only 3 seconds. 2, 1, and the time is over. White has won the game. Team Rex wins game 1 to start off the competition.
I should have accepted those.
Fine positional style from Team Rex. I really like the way Rex played those 5 moves. They're definitely outplaying Randy.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty well-played game. I think actually the teams made a bit of a tactical error in leaving Randy and Rex so little time going into their 45th moves.
Absolutely. We got, well, the winner of the first game, Rex Sinquefield with Maurice.
We're with Rex Sinquefield after a winning game 1. Rex, that was a well-played game. No mistakes on the part of the amateurs at least, and you really provided the impetus at the end, winning a pawn.
Yeah, you know, I thought was most interesting was the beginning. We started with a very traditional Ruy Lopez, and Garry comes in there, and he complicates that thing so much with his next 5 moves. A version of the Ruy that, frankly, I'm not totally familiar with. I began to wonder, oh boy, where's this going? And I'm going to have to clean this up at the end.
How does it feel? You're sitting there. These are the legends of our time, the greatest players in the world, and you know you're going to have to sit down at some point and make moves that complement theirs.
I have to make moves that I hope will not cause them to get sick and die or throw up. You know, that's all I have to do. Avoid a disaster.
Well, the result is a win for you against your son. You're up 1. You're feeling confident about the rest of the competition?
I think so, but it's going to be tough. You notice Randy has improved a lot in the last year. He's no pushover at all.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Game 2 coming up in just a few minutes.
Let's take a look at the standings. And Rex making fun of Garry Kasparov. You gotta love it. Team Rex, oh my gosh, that's a great photo. With the St. Louis Cardinals hat. And Team Randy in another surfing pose. I think these images, Eric Mosel and the rest of the Spectrum Studios team clearly having some fun today.
But John, let's talk about the first game. I think the clear mistake there was by Yasser Seirawan, who, when we think about it, has a lot of pressure on him. He needs to give Randy a good position to play in, but he plays the speculative sacrifice with A5.
Right.
That at the end of the day was what cost him the game.
Yeah, because Randy didn't realize that without the rooks on the board, that's going to be devastating. Right. I also think that they didn't leave them with enough time. I think they really want to get them into that situation with about 2 minutes so that each player can have about 30 seconds to sink into the position.
I completely agree with you, Jen. Mistakes from Team Randy, very well exploited by Team Rex.
That's right. And the next round, how are they going to adjust their strategy? It's going to be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned, and I really love the clash of styles because at some point you saw White going very aggressively for the offensive. He was pushing pawns, attacking on the queen side, and then Dingley Rain came in, and he traded off into a slightly better endgame. I love how we had like 4 crazy attackers, like Kasparov came in, and Fabiano K played a couple of moves, then Anish started throwing his pieces forward, and Dingley Rain just calmed down the game so much.
Absolutely. You want to show the opening with B5 because that was a slightly uncommon move in the Roy, right? So
yes.
Usually B5 isn't played this early.
Absolutely. Randy played the move B5 here, which is actually considered to be slightly dubious after Bishop B3, Knight F6. It's this move, D4, that's supposed to catch Black a little bit off guard as after pawn takes D4, E5. Now this bishop on this diagonal is quite powerful. The knight has to go to E4, and after bishop D5, White's considered to have a little bit of an edge.
And back to Maurice, we are getting game 2 started.
Well, with a 1-0 result in the books for Rex Sinquefield, we know that Randy's going to have to make a big comeback, a push in game 2. Randy, what are your thoughts about the result at the moment?
He defended very well. He played well. I just have to play better. After all, he is the godfather of chess, so this time the god's son's going to show him how it's done.
Rex?
What you talking about, man?
All right, we're going to start the game. Game 2, about to go underway.
Oh, D4, okay.
Nicely. No theory.
No theory? Well, Garry, Rex's coach. Is he familiar with this move, Knight C3?
Actually, he's been playing Knight F6 only recently.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking.
Nice, watch your step.
No talking.
I guess we'll have to. He switched from the double green pawn to green field very recently.
Yeah.
He's overextended. One more move.
Excellent. Wow. Yeah. Push him back.
Rex wants to keep playing.
Well, he gets one more move.
Yeah.
Randy came out with a power opening and has put it to black immediately to have to defend this position. Certainly some weak dark squares in black's formation, and Kasparov not too thrilled. And look at Wesley So on the assault already.
So Kasparov part
putting
2.
pressure
Oh God,
on Garry Kasparov.
Okay,
Remember,
put the ball on C2. This
Yeah.
and with 5-6 extra tempest.
We castle long.
Castle.
I believe.
all right, black realizes that there's some danger here, and Kasparov studying the position because he knows there's a big attack that's coming at him, and he has to get his pieces out while white has tremendous amount of space. This is the kind of position Kasparov is famous for himself, and a queen side almost illegally executed with 2 hands by Wesley So, but he did it with 1 hand, make sure he did that the right way, and now Kasparov with his last move, as Vishwanathan Anand comes into the chair.
We need a wave.
Wesley, what is Queen doing on B3? To prevent.
And now Fabiano Caruana also sitting down. It is Anand's turn to make 5 moves.
Oh, excellent.
They continue the provocation will win it.
Yeah, I think the game is practically over. Garry's night before was too optimistic.
Too aggressive. Too aggressive. Oh, the Americans.
How are you feeling about this, Anish? You're a great defender.
It's a Stonewall structure, nothing's going on.
Whoa.
That's fine, the bishop on g7 is going to be a beast. The king, oh wow, long castle, we are doing perfect.
You're hinting the moves.
Now you cannot play long. Game.
It's okay.
Yeah, we gotta keep some integrity. Don't give specific moves, but it was clear that's what he had intended to do.
They have to
Castle is
cheat.
not a move,
If
it's a
they have
concept.
to cheat, it's okay.
And now a rook lift by Anand. That rook lift looks very dangerous given where black's king is. And now the knight running back.
Now you will see what happens.
Is that which number move was that? That's 4. One more move for Anand now. He wants to definitely put his signature on this position before he's got to get up. And he's played knight to b5. And approved. Anand now getting up. Fabi has to make his last move. As a vicious attacking player, Vasily Topalov practically pranced into the chair. Thrilled to have this kind of position with the white pieces. And now rook a3. And look at that lift by the rook. A devastating attacking position as Nakamura comes down to defend.
I won't have to play a move in this game. I'm supposed to play in 4 moves, but I think it will be over.
Very confident Maxim Vachier-Lagrave, and now he's even pointing out threats is Vasily Topalov. I think you should keep your hand off the table at least, but h6 has come, and Hikaru Nakamura, one of the best blitz players on the planet, now trying to mix things up.
You know what they say, never trust your opponent.
And not accepting any sacrifices, Vasily Topalov just deciding to point his bishop back at the king, and Hikaru still ignoring the queen side completely as he continues his assault on the position. Nakamura defending with amazing complications. And now a trade on c6 with check, and a bishop positional chess yet again into e5. Topalov now getting up, and Maxim, despite his predictions, have had to sit down and make a couple of moves, and now begging down his capture was Anish Giri, grabbing that pawn.
They always ruin
It looks as though White is not as confident as they used to be, Fabi.
They always ruin their position in time for Maxime. Right when he gets on the chair, his position is just ruined. I mean, I just feel bad for the guy.
And now suddenly Maxime has to make moves from what looked like a gorgeous position for White. Now it's Black's turn in the defense.
On top of all his problems, he's also a Frenchman.
Some serious Josh talking, but now White, a peace sacrifice accepted, but here comes Maxime Vachier-Lagrave looking for a big attack, and he's smiling now.
Oh, in French school of chess.
The way he pressed that down with confidence did Garry, and now Maxime Vachier-Lagrave has to leave. One more move. No more moves. He has to leave, and Levon Aronian is next.
You know what happens, yeah?
Why did you do it? Yeah, it was a joke, but it was a good move.
You know what happens?
What happens? I don't know.
I'm going to make sure that's what happens.
Ooh, I like it.
Okay.
Confidence.
Now we have to be...
You're not going to make him. You can make the...
And now Chinese #1 Ding Liren
Now we have to be solid.
comes into the chair. It's a dangerous moment for Black, to be sure, but they are up a piece. Will they be able to stave off the White onslaught? And Levon Aronian, deep in thought, trying to figure out exactly what to do.
I will just pass. Not only move, I could also retreat, but... Yes.
And now the offer of a queen trade to beat back White's attack, totally rejected immediately. And now rook up to d6, playing defense.
This is positional position.
All that
Yasser, your thoughts about the moment right now?
It's super sharp. I thought the attack was going to break through, but Ding has actually played really well, unfortunately. And it's trouble for us.
We're back.
All right, down a piece is White, but with tremendous compensation as he's preparing all his forces to mass against the Black King. And Ding Liren bringing his rook in as one more move for Levon.
Is that it?
One more move before the next team comes up.
Okay, do it for me.
Do it for...
Time not really a factor, although White is ahead by a minute on the clock. And Levon is thinking deeply about what he should do now. He wants to make a real move to put pressure on Black, but Black seems to be defending for the moment.
What do you mean defending? We're up a piece. What do we have to defend here?
Well, the compensation that you have.
Okay, this
No
move is for
compensation.
Yes.
All right, A5 has been played. Yasser Sirwan coming into the chair.
Yes, so you have to make.
And Ding Liren with his last move, now trading rooks. Fabiano did not seem happy with that last move.
Maybe it's a good move, but I wanted to play rook b5.
Yeah. And now Peter Spidler joining Yasser in the chair. Certainly a defensive position again, down a piece. 2:17 on the clock for White, 1:38 for Black. Black has to figure out how to get going here.
Get some compensation. As long as Wesley doesn't come and ruin the game.
You're blaming Vasily Topolov for not carrying out this attack.
I don't think it's here to make me a very difficult decision.
No, I just have to, make the things that are easy to make them more complicated. And also
Interesting
the game would be
play of words there.
Really too slow.
You don't want to lose the
short.
clients, yeah? You don't want to lose the clients, yeah.
And Peter Spidler has been thinking for quite some time on this position, and their clock is now down under a minute as he's played c6 and allowed a rook into b6, brought his queen back to defend.
Why so serious?
Yeah.
What was the point?
Well, it's been done, and now it's time for Yasser Sirwan. He has 2 minutes on his clock, plenty of time. Down a piece is White, but with tremendous compensation.
It's a positional position.
And Yasser playing with some elbow grease that one. A huge position for White, except he's down a piece for the moment, but Black has very few moves to make. And Black is currently at 57 seconds. Now he's brought his queen to d6. The Black players with black don't feel too happy. Rex's team seems disgruntled at the last sequence, but Yasser still has to find the win.
Yasser is a genius. Yes. Yasser. 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 So good. One more.
One more move by Yasser 01. Spidler finally bringing his knight back. And then Randy and Rex will be up. Will they be able to finish it off? There goes a pawn, critical pawn as Yasser now leaves and Queen E7. And now it's Randy and Rex with Rex having, with black, 46 seconds. Randy has a full 134 on his clock. Will they be able to continue the game in proper style? Still a complicated position. White having certainly a lot of compensation for the material, and he's taking a pawn off the board. And now it's actually 2 pawns, 3, make that, 2 pawns for the piece, but still so much advantage for the white forces. But no panic, he says. Rex with only 34 seconds. He's captured on A6. And the king is in check, is under attack. Can Randy finish it off? Continue the attack. He's got 1 minute and 20 seconds.
I think Rex is
Check. And the king moving over, and yet another check.
How many moves? One more.
One more move to go.
One more move. Okay, but it's hard now. Yes, there's one. One and only one.
And the tension is building as Randy is now under a minute as white on the clock, joining black, although black has only 33 seconds left. Randy, how's it feel to make that comeback game in style?
Oh, I needed this win, man. I'm confident. Cool. Look at these guys. Look at this team behind me. Are you kidding me? This is amazing.
We're
here to pump you up. Good luck, Dad.
Randy played better moves than Veslin.
Well, we'll throw it back down to you in the studio. Game 3 will start in a few minutes.
Wow, that was just an incredible game. I was in pins and needles. Let's take a look at the end where Maxime Vachier-Lagrave said that Randy played better than Veselin.
Well, I think Veselin was the true villain at the beginning because he blew all of White's advantage, but it was this position where Viller with the black pieces, he should have just taken the pawn on d4, attacking the knight on c5, the queen cannot come to b4 because of the trade. That would have pretty much ended the game. Instead, he played this pretty horrible move, c6, rook b6, queen c7, and suddenly you can see White starts getting a lot of pressure, but the true finish was Randy Sinquefield, scintillating attack. He played the move knight takes a6, bishop takes, which is a big mistake because now the bishop, one of the bigger defenders of the king, was removed, and suddenly with an exposed king, Randy came up with a couple of precise checks, and team Rex was forced to resign since the move rook c6 is coming next, and that is the end of the queen. White's up too much material. There is no way they would have survived, and they were down on the clock significantly.
One hero of that game, I got to point out though, Nakamura. I mean, he really, I feel like he kind of brought the game back into Black's favor at some point.
Actually, Nakamura blundered very badly.
Really, where?
In, let's see, because he was playing against Veselin, right?
No, I think he was after Veselin, right? But no, knight b5.
Right, in this position, I think both sides missed a really nice tactic. I think it was after h6.
Yeah, but that's hard to see. Oh,
no,
so you were
nice.
saying knight takes g6, but then we can play like queen. Then we can play queen e8, right?
No, but the tactic they missed, I thought, was completely brilliant. If they play knight takes d5, this attacks the queen. You cannot take with this knight because of the pin, and if you take with this pawn, knight takes c6 is check, and you get discovery on the queen. I think knight takes d5 is something Veselin would normally see in a blitz game. And they would have just, that's game over.
Yeah, but this is a little different because there's a lot of pressure to play it almost like a bullet game because you really want to leave Rex and Randy with more time on the clock.
Well, that still doesn't justify, I think, moving backwards so often, and suddenly when Garry put that queen on h4, it was clear Black had taken over. But at the end of the day, the defense was just not enough.
Yeah, somebody dreamt, well, it was MVL who decided, if we are going to win this game, we're going to win by attacking. So he went forward with the attack with bishop takes a6.
The all-in worked, and remember that at the amateur level, I think it's much easier to attack than defend, and we really saw this game.
Hey, even at the GM level, I mean, it was hard for Spidler to find the correct defense with queen d4
That's
with
true.
his clock ticking down.
Absolutely.
Queen b4 for white was a very menacing threat.
Yes, I think that, well, we've said it over and over again. Blitz games, the aggression and the initiative usually pays off, even if you have to take a few risks.
This was a great game, though. I mean, this was actually almost hard to watch because it was so tense for 5-minute games with so many ups and downs, whereas the first game was like a little bit just, I think it was like an easy win for white more, so.
It seemed you thought, well, more one-sided. This was definitely, this one had more drama.
Oh yeah, this one was just so dramatic for a 5-minute game. This could easily have been like a 30-minute game with all those ups and downs.
That's true, but I like the way Randy brought it home. He played so many precise moves to win the game.
Exactly. Clearly some natural attacking talent by Randy Sinquefield there.
And I think we're getting ready for round 3 here. Rex starting with the white pieces.
It does seem like it's all about white in this tournament, in that so far white has gotten really good positions. So both of them trying to play quickly, but then sometimes getting a bit too much on the defensive with black.
Maybe, yeah, but I thought black in the first game had a really big advantage from the opening. And it was a mistake, I think, by Randy at the end that really allowed Rex to, well, pretty much queen a pawn. Well, let's see if we change the strategies. You think we'll see another Ruy Lopez, or do you think Rex will switch it up?
I think Rex is going to play e4, but Randy's going to mix it up. And we've got more Ruiz for the start of the game.
Yes, we are back for round 3. That was absolutely a fantastic game. Lots of drama, lots of swings. In the end, Randy Sinquefield's team won that one. Randy, you mentioned you were high as a kite after the game. How do you feel coming into this one?
I feel great. I'm cool, confident, feeling comfortable. Much better than last year. I think we're gonna pull it out this year.
And Rex, you guys lost that second game, but it's still 1-1. What are your thoughts now?
If he's as high as a kite, I told him to stop using drugs.
And there you have it. On to game 3.
It's all theory, guys. It's all theory. We looked at it. This theory. We looked at yes, correct, yes.
A Berlin already.
And then the one of you has 4. That's 4. Okay, transition.
And now we're transitioning. One more and Garry giving him the evil eye right now.
You don't have to resign.
This one, this got sharp quick after that move to d5, and Black's after trying to figure out what to do. Now down a pawn with threats to his position, and Wesley So. Well, no longer down a pawn. It was the moment you were, but now this position, very sharp. Kasparov licking his chops about what to do next, as Wesley So has initiated some great complications, and he sacrificed a piece temporarily with the move queen to d7. Now knight c3. And Wesley So finally capturing the knight back. So even material, but Black's pawn structure has been shattered. The question is, how does White take advantage of this position? And a pawn extra as Kasparov leaves with a pawn extra, super solid position, a definite advantage to White as Fabiano Caruana and Vishwanathan Anand go into the chair.
But Fabiano understands that this is Marshall. Things can go wrong very, very fast. Marshall with a double
Levon Aronian, optimistic assessments as usual, trying to psych out his opponents.
This is a clear mistake. He doesn't understand that the bishop is on b7. It's going to hit his queen soon enough.
There's also queen on d7.
Soon you understand. Soon.
Trying to intimidate already with the trash talking, although they know they're worse.
I think Marshall just turned around in his grave.
And the move F5, a hyper-aggressive attacking move. They would love to shift the pawn off of C6, but it's there. But F5 is an aggressive move, causing Fabiano Caruana to pause in this moment. Although currently up a pawn, the attack, or the initiative at least, seems to be with black suddenly. The game has changed.
Well, I mean, we have the better players. The Tiger.
He said, "We have the better players," says Maxime Vachier-Lagrave.
But we all know at some point Wesley will join. So
And the last move by Fabiano Caruana, Hikaru Nakamura comes into the chair, and Vasilin Topolov as well.
Make a squat.
Let's go. Bravo. Very nice. Very nice.
I think I just have
Trading off.
You're fine. You're doing fine.
Yeah, you're doing very nice. If only you have a pawn on this way. Position no. Even the rookie one.
I don't think a pawn on D5 wins from black's position.
And White training down all of Black's attacking possibilities. Very quickly, Black is still down a pawn in the long term, and White with amazing pieces. His rook's doubled.
Might have a position here. I have zero counter plays inside. It's not exactly the Nine-Dwarf. Not exactly the Nine-Dwarf. This is the rookie one, Berlin, with a bad pawn structure and an extra pawn. Something I like.
Lecture later. Move now.
Now, Rex, look what you do. You fix the dark squares.
Okay.
Desperate.
No, we're also fixing the dark squares. He just follows you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Now look,
I
Rex,
believe
what you do?
in our French monster.
What you do is
In Machine Lagrave.
You start attack.
Is going to show
this diagonal is going to be decisive.
Machine.
This diagonal. Because remember,
feel-
that diagonal.
Go for it.
He's calling him Maxime the Machine. Will he have enough counterplay, given that White is totally dominating the board right now in space? And it looks like Anish didn't even want to get up from the table because the position is so good. And Ding Liren jumps in and just rips off a second pawn. Black is currently down 2 pawns, and White just looking to trade off the pieces. A huge advantage for White.
Mate!
Black is down 2 pawns, but they're acting like they're up a piece.
Maxime's general plan is working. He created control.
But I needed a mastermind to make it.
We started with the plan of.
I had a dream, yeah?
Looks like some good team camaraderie as they're trying to give support to Black in this position, given that he is down 2 full pawns. And now the move Queen to E4.
Wait, this is interesting. I'm not understanding what he wants to do.
Maybe because he doesn't know what to do. He knows that Bishop G4 was actually not a threat.
Now I need to spend some time and understand.
Lots of time on the clock for both sides to get to this position. Semi-martial gambit, they call it, but clearly just not something that Black really wanted to walk into. Will there be enough counterplay as these pieces are close to the White King, but definitely not doing enough pressure?
He has a nasty plan. I don't like that.
Pretty guys.
Some Chinese massage there for you, though.
Chinese massage.
That with no appeal.
And now White is ahead on the clock. He was down quite a bit, but he's caused him to go into a long think, and he's a touch move. Touch move has been called as C6 is now in the board, and now Queen to E7, a nasty threat to the rook on E8, and suddenly it's busted. The rook is under attack, cannot be protected, and he's about to resign, and he has resigned. A crushing blow by Ding Liren, giving White the victory in that game, and Rex's team has bounced back immediately to take a 2-1 lead. Rex, were you confident that you would come back in this game?
I was confident in my team. And you know what they say, you mess with the best, you die like the rest. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Well, that's 3 rounds in the books. These players now very animated. Of course, Rex's team is up 2-1. We'll let you talk about it back in the studio.
From hero to villain, Randy Sinquefield, I think. He had such a great attack last game, but this time he played 5 moves in the opening, and it was all over, really. This move, D5, you might be thinking, we've only played 5 moves of chess, but D5, I think, is enough of a mistake that any of those guys upstairs will crush you from this position, and today was no exception. After knight takes D5, there's just too much pressure on this knight. It's almost impossible to defend it comfortably. Wesley tried some trick with pawn takes c4, knight takes c6, queen d7, but black just has no development after knight c3, pawn takes, rook e1, bishop e7. Kasparov's last move, knight takes e4, gave a dominating position for white, an extra pawn, better pieces, better pawn structure, and that's all these guys really needed to crush the black side.
That's right. So black having some problems, 3 wins in a row for white, and 3 strong positions coming out of the first 5 moves. We got to see if their teammates are going to be giving Randy and Rex some better advice with the black pieces. So we got 2 points for Team Rex and 1 point for Team Randy.
Yes, absolutely crushing performance by the white pieces so far. I think the openings have really favored white, but not necessarily because of Randy or Rex's moves. This one definitely was Randy, but in the first 2, I think it was some grandmasters making mistakes.
Exactly. That was definitely a big part of it. Who do you think's the star so far of the show?
Ooh, I think it's really varied up and down, but I mean, Dingley Ren just gave that crushing. I think it was very easy. In the first game, the star had to be Rex. He outplayed Randy in that endgame, got in the winning pass pawn, but game 2, it was Randy that actually took the stardom role. He executed that attack perfectly. In the last game, I'm going to have to say the star was Randy, just for the wrong reasons.
So from star to villain, and we are going to take a quick break as we look at the standings here one more time. It's 2-1 in favor of Team Rex, but can Team Randy tighten the race next round?
Well, stay tuned. We'll have to find out.
The Grand Chess Tour was the brainchild of Garry Kasparov. He was able to connect a lot of organizers and players and sponsors to create what is the best circuit of chess events that has existed or will exist. And I think we can expect many more years of great events to come with the Grand Chess Tour.
I remember Boris Kasky, used to say, when people talked about Soviet chess school, he liked this term because he said it was not about the country, it was more about the spirit. And he said the best representative of Soviet chess school in 1970 was Bobby Fischer. Every time I fly from New York to St. Louis, I had these nostalgic feelings and I understood why, because this is where the spirit of chess is very much alive.
Your Sinquefield Cup champion for 2016, Grandmaster Wesley So.
When it comes to preparing for a tournament like this, do you prepare specifically for every player, or is it just more of a general preparation?
I used to be a guy who would prepare just generally, but I think last 3-4 years I'm more preparing against the opponents. So the preparation starts when I find out who I'm playing and with which color.
You keep everything very general till the pairings are done, because 9 opponents two colors, you have to cover broad categories. You want to have enough in your toolkit that you can then pick and choose very easily. So while you say broad work, it's not like you neglect the details.
I prepare more in general. I just want myself to feel comfortable here. And I did not prepare for the particular opponent.
I mean, a lot of it's just been general preparation, and I mean, there hasn't been a big stopover between Bilbao and the Sinquefield Cup. I mean, it's only been about a week and a half since that tournament ended, but still, I've been looking at a fair amount on what my various opponents are going to play, and I feel pretty good.
Just as always, I've been doing some chess. I've played a lot in the past few months, so I took a little bit of time to rest as well. I kept in touch with the game the last week as well. I've looked at a few things a little bit.
Well, I would have liked some more preparation for an event of this magnitude, but on the other hand, I always welcome chances to play against the world's best. I did get a bit of a warm-up playing against MVL. Didn't go according to plan, so to speak, but it did give me some much-needed practice.
You have to have your plan laid out ahead of time, especially since all the players are pretty versatile in the opening and can surprise you. There is a point to trying to prepare specific things against an opponent, but I'd say it's more useful to have your entire plan laid out.
I'm Mike Matheny, manager of the Cardinals and chess fanatic. At the world-renowned Chess Club and Scholastic Center of St. Louis, across from the World Chess Hall of Fame, St. Louis' status as the chess capital of the nation is on full display. With a welcoming environment and scholastic outreach program that works with over 100 schools, our goal is to teach, play, and promote the sport. So whether you've played for years or never before, we invite you to experience all chess has to offer.
And we are back at the 2016 Ultimate Moves, which has been quite exciting so far, especially that Game 2 battle. Boy, I don't know if I can take too many more games like that. My heart almost exploded on that one.
Well, I was upstairs during the break, and I gotta say, Team Randy was huddled up, coming up with opening strategy, both Yasser Seirawan, the legend, and Wesley So himself, the winner of the Sinquefield Cup, giving advice on how to open the game.
Let's go up to Maurice for the start of game 4.
Well, we're at the top of round 4, game 4, and the players are intense. There were a lot of strategies going on, discussions being made about what to do now. Randy, you guys took it on the chin the last game. You're down 2-1. What's the strategy to bounce back?
Just got to play solid this time, and I don't know, I'm going to stick to the plan. We've got a plan in store. We'll see if we can do this.
Take it one move at a time, Randy.
And Rex, you won the first, lost the second, won the third, the second time with the black pieces. What's your strategy for handling the situation now?
Oh, it's easy. Tatev and Katarina told me how to move the pointy-headed guys. So I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, well, it's time for game 4 in this epic matchup. Players have shaken hands, and it's time to go. B3 on move 1. All right, looking to befuddle Rex right away with a move he's not familiar with. And Rex just playing chess, developing pieces so far. Clearly, this was a strategic insight by the players. And now a double fianchetto happening, and Rex playing G6. Solid play. And the double fianchetto on the board now. We see two bishops out. And Rex did indeed know how to move the pointy-headed guys. One more move for Randy, and knight F3 on the board. And the team seems quite pleased with that opening. And one more move for Rex, and he's up. And Wesley So and Garry Kasparov. Gary's not thrilled, it seems, by the position he has with the black pieces. And Kasparov with a solid move. Wesley So castling. This is a rich position. Not the typical position Kasparov finds himself in with the black pieces, but after all, he was a world champion for many years for a reason. Now playing bishop to G4.
But he was. But he was. No?
Whoa.
Now 95 on the board, giving Kasparov pause.
No, this is a very deep idea. Because it crosses the line.
The equator.
Yeah, the equator.
And Kasparov with the sacrifice of a bishop, of course, just a sham sacrifice in this position, because the bishop on B2 would be hanging, so pressure on the knight on E5, and Wesley So backing up quickly, backing up to deal with this threat to his knight, and Kasparov now playing D4, trying to bury all of White's pieces in the position, and it looks like a challenge now for White to get anything into the game. His knight on B1, unable to come out to the C3 square. He's dropped it to A3 instead, and Anand leaping into the chair as Kasparov prepares to make his last move.
We have a great position because our pieces are, they're developed, while Black's knight on B8 doesn't have prospects.
Might like squares at some point. Yes.
Yeah.
At some point. And hopefully it's not the pink Indian.
Our position is positionally very positional.
Well, he won't get a job as a commentator anytime soon. And knight to A6, two unusual knights in the position as they have figured out a way to develop the wayward knights on the queen side, and now Fabiano Caruana is sitting down playing the move E5. Tremendous space advantage for Black, to be sure, and White trying to figure out how to play, and there goes Anand with B4, looking for space himself on the queen side. Caruana dropping back with his knight, and knight to C1. Knight to C1, a retreat by the five-time world champion, approval by Anish Giri.
Well, in this kind of positions, you have to either use the unusual placement of the pieces or just drop them back and place them usually. So that's what Vish is doing. I'm just teaching some chess to grandmasters here, basically. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't.
And the attack continues as Vichy now gets up as the knight has gone to a4 to attack the bishop.
Vichy gets up and pretends he was never here.
And now the move a5 and a3 by Fabius. Topalov responds immediately. Here comes Nakamura into the chair.
Oh, nice. But I think Wesley knows those positions.
All these positions, all
They play themselves.
He'll get counterplay.
Usually my knight is around. But
it's okay, you can do it. It will get there.
And a capture on b4, straight trade.
Look, they don't allow me to make mistake. Take, I have to take.
We're okay.
And the clock ticking down, 4 minutes, full 4 minutes and 5 seconds for black. White, for white. White is a big lead on the clock. 2:46, and white looking very pretty, sitting pretty on the clock at least, although black is the one with more space in the position. And now the bishop dropping back. And one more move. Is it? You're up, Vasilin. You're done. You're done. It's time to go. And it's two of the younger players in the competition, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave versus Anish Garry, and two quick moves, knowing exactly what to do. And this crowd is happy. And a sharp move by Garry, suddenly blowing up the queen side.
I think somebody's in shape today. And it's not Maxime. Yeah, I get it going today. I really don't know.
It's a comeback. It's making a comeback. And the comeback happens today.
Feeling good about himself in that last move with all that tension on the queen side, and Maxime dropping his knight back, making sure no threats to that side.
Do you want to laugh? Do you want to laugh or you don't want to laugh?
We want to laugh. We want to laugh.
We want to laugh.
We want to laugh.
Brilliant. We don't want to okay, sure.
No, we want to laugh. We want to laugh. No, but we want to laugh.
He will still do it, actually. I think he will still do it.
He will do it.
I dare you.
Going into a long think, now down to 2 minutes and 14 seconds and ticking down. Anish Garry trying to figure out all the complications of the pawns on the queen side, and he has another creative idea that he mentioned of playing the move g5, but he decided to go in a different route, just simply capturing on the c4 square, and now a trade. And white seeming like he's holding on, at least for now.
I think we're going to win a pawn.
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
And Garry has gone serious as his time has gone under 2 minutes. White way ahead on the clock with 3 minutes and 28 seconds, and Maxime seeming quite happy right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm happy, but I at least have to pretend to.
And Garry is still struggling with the position. He has played g5, going for the attack.
That's real.
And his rook swinging over.
It's a bluff.
Looks like a threat he probably noticed, and yes, he played rook to f2, guarding against the mate threat in one move.
There's a lot of tension in the position.
A lot of tension.
And Ding Liren, the Chinese star, now bringing his knight into the game, and a capture about to happen on c5 with a pawn. Pawn takes on c5. The black pawn center now under tremendous duress.
Rumbling.
Now the pawn is coming. The strategy, as predicted.
Failed. The strategy has failed.
What is this doing?
Of course.
I have
Ridiculous.
explained me. I have played
Only
Ding.
Anish
I have played Ding so many times,
believe
and I know what he's
Take
thinking.
the pawn, yeah?
What is he thinking?
He's thinking, how can his teammates get such a position like this? Your position doesn't have positionality anymore.
Or personality either.
The position lacks positionality. That's a new one. But he might be right. It looks as though black's position is crumbling, and he has only 56 seconds left, and he's played the move knight to c3. A wild move and time pressure. White is now up a clear pawn, and it looks as though black's pieces are discombobulated with no real point here.
Discombobulated.
Discombobulated.
Yeah, it's actually an English word.
It's not Dutch word.
I see the
Okay,
idea.
now I have to.
Now I see the idea. I thought it was a bad move.
I like it.
I like it too.
It's a very deep move.
It's very deep, yeah.
It's a very deep move.
No
Chinese
pressure.
school
Listen,
of chess.
it's going to be made pretty soon.
I will
Yes.
try to be solid. No pressure.
Yes.
I'm a solid guy.
And an offer of a queen trade.
This
Yes.
knight has blocked.
I think you have one more move.
And now one more move. Ding Liren down to 51 seconds, and he has traded queens. He's gone into an endgame despite being down a pawn, and now Aroni has to get up. Ding Liren with one more move, and Yasser Sirwan with 2 minutes 55. Black with only 45 seconds left. And rook to c8 has been played. And here comes Peter Svidler, 7-time Russian champion, to the table. Yasser Seirawan with 2 minutes and 50 seconds. The time advantage is overwhelming. Full 2 minutes, but here comes Yasser bringing his knight around and looks as though he's preparing to get his pawn back. Instead, he's centralized. Knight to d4. Hyper-aggressive move by the Russian champ. And now Black with only 39 seconds, but he seems as though he has come back in the game. Used to be a dubious-looking position, may still be, but White certainly with a challenge in front of him, despite having the big lead on the clock.
Yasser looks very challenged.
Keep the lead on the clock, then let Wax score this.
The last time I saw Yasser making he had a mistake.
I think it will come down to 2 minutes for Rex and Randy.
And Yasser's still thinking, trying to solve all the complexities. And now Black feeling a lot more confident about the situation, although that time disparity will certainly count at some point in the game. But Yasser's still analyzing the position. He's gone into over a minute think on the clock so far, and his time is quickly evaporating in terms of the advantage. He's not sure exactly what to do. And shaking his head is Yasser Seirawan. What are you feeling about this, Vishy?
We were outplaying them beautifully.
But e4 was a bit too risky, but it's okay.
All right, well, the clock is still ticking down. Now, less than a minute advantage. It was a huge edge, but Yasser trying to figure out exactly what to do. He's seeing problems everywhere and not sure what move to make.
Any move is good.
And now finally he has retreated his knight. And bishop takes pawn has been played.
Yasser, you're good.
And king to g2 on the board. Couple more moves for their side.
Defense.
And the clock is ticking down. 33 seconds left for Black. How to proceed. And Svidler swinging his rook across to the b6 square. A trade, and that's it. That's it. No more moves. You have to get up. And here comes Randy and Rex in a highly complex ending. Material equality on the board at the moment. Rex Sinquefield with only 25 seconds, but Randy has slipped under a minute to 53 seconds and counting. And they love the move. It is now Rex Sinquefield's turn. He must make a move.
Randy's a genius.
And Rex now down to 19 seconds and ticking down. Needs to make a move, and he has defended against the threat, the main threat in the position. And he's taken a pawn, and now White is ahead. Rex now playing the move, knight to b3. Knight to b3, trying to befuddle his opponent.
You know what they say, if they give you free chickens, you need to take it.
And knight is taken, and there he goes. Yeah. Bishop takes rook on f2, and Rex Sinquefield sacrificing two pieces for the rook. One more move for both sides before the GMs come in. There's only 34 seconds left to 14 seconds left. And knight d5 has been played. It's up to Rex to make a move. Rex needs a move, and he's retreating his rook. He's retreating his rook and blundered. A terrible blunder by Rex. Garry without a chance. Had to resign for a second time. Poor Rex blundered again, and the score is tied up. Incredible comeback.
Wesley has done it again, defeated the former world champion, forced resignation back-to-back. We are proud of Randy.
Of course, Garry could not make any moves because they were going to lose a rook on the board. They're happy that he had to resign twice without coming back to the table. Unfortunately, Rex's blunder cost them the game. The score is now knotted again, 2-2. We'll be back for more action up here with some happy grandmasters and some really disconsolate ones as well.
Wow, what a game. So what do you make of that position if rook c2 check? I was sure that he was going to play, like, you know, just a sub move just to toss it back to the Super Grandmasters.
Well, there was a collective mistake, honestly, to leave Rex in such a complicated position with 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
That was absolutely terrible. After Bishop takes b6, we started getting this position between Randy and Rex. And you can see Randy making very natural moves. Knight d5 comes in, hitting the bishop. The bishop must play to c5 in order to also defend the point on e7, so there is no check. Knight takes c3, it looks pretty logical. And now, of course, this move knight b3, quite dubious. We've learned over and over again, 2 pieces are worth more than a rook. Randy decided, okay, let's go for the trade. Put the knight on d5, and this clearly favors white, but the game is far from over. For example, after the move rook c2 check, the king is forced backwards. It would be a very tough, complicated endgame. I think that it would have been fun to see the Grandmasters blitz this one out. White clearly playing for a win, but nothing written in stone.
No, not at all. And this is going to take so long for White to convert then. In fact, they probably would go back to Randy and Rex.
Right, and with the time pressure, anything can happen. But instead, rook c8 was played, and Wesley didn't even sit down when he slammed the move, knight e7 check. Game over.
And they were beckoning Garry to come back.
Look
we
at
have
these
an
guys.
opening strategy session going on for Randy.
They're
Randy
expecting
Sinquefield.
some kind of French defense for some reason.
Because, what?
What?
Oh, this is for his. Oh, I think this was during the break. It's not now. So they were preparing him for White.
Was Rex play the French?
Oh, I think they're wondering if Rex will again. I think they're thinking that this time after d4, knight f6, knight c3, Rex will play d5, and then they're trying to surprise him with e4.
Are they? That is, I don't think that's the move order, but okay. Some opening strategy there. Let's see what's going on in the standings now after 4 rounds.
Well, guess what? We are tied up 2-2. Team Rex, 2 points. Team Randy, 2 points. So the tension mounts.
Absolutely. It seems like over and over, it's white winning.
That's right. And we've been going back and forth with the time situation. But I think that both teams should really try to avoid the 30, giving Randy and Rex less than a minute. I mean, they could barely sit down.
And also, we need to get a note to Yasser. I think so. He thinks it's correspondence chess, but it's actually blitz, right?
Yeah, I think he was worried that like he needed to find the precise move there, or they were going to completely go down.
He entered with a 2-minute time advantage, and when he left, he had like a 20-second time advantage.
And even Svither on his part, I think he should have tried to play even faster to give Rex like a full 40 seconds.
No, I agree.
There's a big difference between 20 seconds and 40 seconds, right?
As I said earlier, I think a lot of pressure is on Yasser and Peter because they are the ones handing the game to the amateurs. They have to put them in a good position, comfortable in the clock, with easy moves to find on the board.
Yeah, I think they might have wanted. They should have really put a lot of thought into that decision. I think somebody who's really thinking a lot about tandem chess. I might have put Levon on this penultimate player.
I think Levon would have been a wiser choice because we've seen that Peter's making a lot of proper moves, but he's complicating the game a little bit too much.
Well, Levon would have been for Randy, right? But yeah, for Rex's team, maybe Fabi. But let's go back up to Maurice.
2-2, tense moments here as they have been talking opening strategy, and of course Rex not feeling great about how he handled that last game. Rex, how are you going to make a comeback right now?
The most dangerous animal in the world is a wounded animal. There, I've said it, man.
And Randy, you've heard your dad trash talk all your life. What are your thoughts about this game?
You know, I'm just going to listen to my team. They're giving me good, solid advice, making me comfortable.
They're cheating. Kill him, Rex.
All right, well, here we go. The fifth game, the penultimate round, critical as Rex once again gets White. So far, I believe White has won every single game in the competition. Will the trend continue? Well, we'll see as the game's about to start. An exchange French on the board now with C4 banged down by Rex Sinquefield with authority. One more move by Randy and Garry Kasparov now sitting down, bishop to E6 on the board.
Next year we're gonna bring a super laptop.
And Kasparov now looking for a signature, an interesting idea after this last move. pressuring the c-pawn.
Surprisingly, this move bishop e6 is not as bad as it looks.
It's a really good move.
Don't let him equalize.
People would take on d5. Merits to be punished.
No, bishop e6 is not tough.
Yeah, probably. Or you know.
A relaxed Wesley So, the winner of the Sinquefield Cup this year, and he looked like he's truly enjoying himself. Kasparov has now played queen c2, defending the knight on c3, and knight to c6 quickly by Wesley.
Got two more moves. Two more moves. And then freedom.
And chasing the bishop from the b4 square.
To a better place.
Packing up quite calmly was Wesley in that situation.
You know, it's not every day I get better position with black defense.
And that's it. 5 moves in. And it is now Fabiano Caruana's turn, and he has castled. Viswanathan coming to the table as well.
Don't let him equalize. He dreams about it. No equal.
And the very calm h6 stopping a piece from landing on the g5 square.
You will learn.
We will learn.
And a steep time edge, surprisingly, just out of the opening, a full minute edge plus already on the clock for black.
If only I got a position like this during the tournament.
Anand just playing smooth moves, the blockade on d5, that knight a monster. What is the compensation that white will reveal? As he has space for sure, but looks like black has no weaknesses in this structure. Bishop dropping back from that a5 square now, pointing in the direction of the white king.
Yes, this looks like an improved Berlin defense.
Yes, much improved.
This is improved Marshall.
That's fine.
This is a white knight on e5. Is that 5? That's 5 moves. Fabiano Caruana having centralized his knight. He gets up, and Nakamura now coming to the table. And Anand needing to make his next move.
He knows who's coming next, so it has to be a good move.
Oh, great.
No respect.
And rook to e8 has been played, and now it is Nakamura's turn. Nakamura playing the best game of the tournament in the Sinquefield Cup. And it is his turn to show what kind of attacking style he has, or how he can continue this position to put pressure on the black forces.
What's pressure?
I don't feel any pressure.
You should.
And the calm bishop to d2. Knight.
They told me to play solid.
Yes.
Yeah. Bravo.
You don't need to win immediately. Because if you play solid, they overpush. That's when you crush them.
Again, Nakamura giving due consideration to the possibilities. He's telegraphing his capture on d4 is Topalov, pointing at the pawn. It's a big edge on the clock, 4:25, and now the knight dropping back to f3.
Solid move. Solid.
And back to e5 is the knight.
Should I go back? Yeah, you should go back.
And
Solid.
Solid.
5 moves?
One more move. Black's pieces look quite centralized and poised. Both sides having great centralization, but black with a superior structure, and white.
No, I follow. Please remember that. I don't want any weaknesses.
Nakamura was about to go hyper aggressive in this position, but it is his last move, so he will not be able to continue, and he has done it. He has played a super aggressive move and given the move to the solid Anish Garry, and now we have a wild position where Anish Garry doesn't seem thrilled at all that his pawn is sitting on the f4 square, and he has to play aggressively somewhat, but he's played the move. Bishop to e3, guarding his pawn on d4.
He's building up the aggressiveness here.
I'm sorry, Vesco. I'm not going to show you any respect. Yes.
And now the knight is returned to the d5 square.
Don't do it on Play for a win. Anish wants to offer a draw. I'm playing for a win.
Now bishop back to c1, and now the bishop on b6, aggressively attacking that d4 pawn, trying to knock the legs from under the pawn, and he's not happy with the pawn on f4. Is Anish now with 157. They have a full 3-minute lead. This is unusual. Well, not quite 3 minutes. Not quite 3 minutes. 2 minutes and 10 seconds, it looks like. But still a gigantic edge on the clock as White is forced to play defense to defend his weaknesses.
It's an illusion. It's not a defense. It's regroupment.
No, but the reason I'm waiting, because every time they make a move and advance some pawn, it's a weakness.
This is what chess is about. This is exactly what chess is about.
This is the Bulgarian school of chess.
And now c5, trying to take the legs out from under the isolated pawn, but suddenly knight to c4, attacking the pawn, attacking the queen on d6, and the strong bishop on b6. Anish Garry, known as a sterling defender.
Sterling defender.
And he's now grabbed the two bishops advantage. That's it. That's it. And now Ding Liren, it's his turn with the white pieces. He's been given a disadvantage on the clock, and he's got to get his head right in this position to see what to do next. A big time advantage, though. 2 minutes. And now f5, chasing the bishop backwards.
Yes. Weakness.
Bravo.
I'm getting every time they push.
And criticizing his partner's moves, but down to 126 is Ding Liren, and needing to find a continuation that can have some flow in the position. It's your partner, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm objective here, and no matter the partner, when a move is awful, I say it's awful.
And you know, Ding Liren
Great teammate.
Ding Liren is not an e4 player.
And now Ding Liren down to 119, and with a 2-minute disadvantage.
Yeah, but okay, it's even weaker now. Yeah.
And the first trade of rooks, and now queen to g3, putting pressure, more pressure on the black position. And they're cheering for Levon right now. Team Rex doing quite
This is
well
my
in
kind of
this.
position. I'm attacking a rook.
But they've been defending the whole game.
Of his pieces.
Well, Team Randy doing well in this position as Team Rex is the first time White seems to be in some serious trouble right now. And that was the 5th move. And here comes Peter Svidler as Aronian has to make his last move in the position.
Hey, you see, this is a lesson on overextended pawns. This is a lesson. We all have to learn from it. And move on.
You know, I think if we win this game, we should get 2 points because we win with that.
Ah, it's so simple. What I was thinking about.
Of course.
Of course!
Show them. Teach them.
And now Yasser Sirwan to follow up on the idea by Levon Aronian. And Svidler has to make a move. And he's played queen takes on c3.
And now it comes.
No, but...
And Yasser scoping the board as Black has a wonderful looking position. Can he finish it off? 2.5 minutes left on the clock for Black. A big edge. Will Black finally win a game in this competition? Yasser smiling for the moment. And ripping off his pawn. A nice tactical shot. He played nice. Now Black is ahead by a pawn in the position. And yet another move consolidating. And Black is ahead by a pawn. Very difficult now for White to figure out all the complications. And bishop back to f1, counting on his 2 bishops possibly to maintain some kind of defensive posture. But now suddenly, rook.
White's winning. No.
And the rook takes, and we see a trade of queens from the board. Was that it? And now it is Rex. It is Rex and Randy in a wild position right now. It is Rex's turn to make a move. And Rex has retreated his knight. His rook, excuse me, he's up a pawn. Thanks, Rex, for the correction. 26 seconds left on the clock for White. And it is Black to move with over 2 minutes. The time advantage is huge. Knight back to e4. And Rex has played the move bishop to d3. And Rex has hung a rook Rex has learned a rook, and he is. No, it is not. It is, yes, it is now checked. And it is very bad for Rex Sinquefield as Rex has to resign. And Team Randy with a big win with the black pieces. Black has finally won a game. A tough situation for Rex.
Haters gonna hate.
Well, they're feeling quite good about themselves as Team Randy as they finally won with the black pieces. Tough situation for Rex as he has hung a rook in 2 straight games. He's going to have to get himself together and make a comeback. We'll see if he can do so for the last game.
I mean, they just keep giving him no time to play his game. I think Rex, he shows up to the board, he sees he has 30 seconds left, tries to make a move, ends up blundering a rook and cost him another game.
Yeah, and the funny thing was right before Yasser got a really good position for black, but then in this position he could have taken on b6
instead of playing
rook g3.
The move rook takes b6 would have, well, it would have been about even game. But I really like this tactic by Yasser. Knight takes c3. Aronian saw it. He set it up. He said, okay, it's simple, and of course this brilliant bishop takes f3. The point being that after bishop takes f5, rook d1 check just costs white the game as there's no way to defend the king properly, and bishop f5 just, I think, was the move of the game.
Indeed, and to credit this fiddler that he played some pretty good moves quickly here in order to try to get the situation a bit better for Rex.
No, he definitely.
It was a pretty bad spot.
He definitely outplayed Yasser. I think this move bishop f1 was a great. b6 I thought was really slow, and after rook g3 he started creating some complications that allowed him eventually to have this possibility of rook takes b6. That being said, they played so slow.
I think the earlier players put Peter in a tough situation in that one.
Yeah.
Ding Liren played way too slowly.
Ding Liren. What about Garry?
Garry
spent like 45 seconds for 5 moves. You can't do that in blitz.
Yeah, especially with these situations, they need to give. I think they need to conceive of it that you need to give Rex 30, especially when they're playing white because they sit there first.
Yes.
You need to give them 30 seconds to sink into the position. Not 30 seconds total. 30 seconds before they make the first of the 5 moves.
Absolutely. The players here with a little bit of snack and strategy and a little bit of trash talk.
By the way, let's tune in.
Jimmy here, yeah? No, I mean when you told him he didn't do it.
It's like a red rag for a bull. He told me not to do it.
If I was even more open, yeah. I think if you play well there, you can almost
I think they're talking about this push early on f4, which Hikaru did. I mean, the thing is, like, it's normally okay in blitz to do something like f4, but against these type of grandmasters, f4 is such a committal move. It's so weakening, and I think that every player that sat down with the white pieces would have loved to grab this pawn and put it back on f2.
That's right, indeed. I think Black, from the opening, they just got a game. Black outplayed them.
Well, let's be honest. That was brilliant opening strategy by the players. We saw them look specifically at this variation with the exchange French. What's going on, Jen? Is there some kind of leak? How do they know Rex's repertoire?
Well, Randy and Rex do play.
Well, I guess that is true.
and Rex likes that opening. He makes it very clear. So I think that after bishop e6, though, you didn't like the way Garry played the opening.
No, I think he's a little rusty. The move bishop e6 is quite bad, but the point is that you go knight ge2. That's what I remember. You play knight ge2 with the idea of knight f4, and suddenly the bishop is really, really awkward on e6. It's funny because Garry used to play the exchange French as white in the early 90s, and I guess the early 90s is just too far away from now because knight ge2 is considered to be the refutation of bishop e6.
Right, just taking and playing knight f3 does give Black a rather comfortable position. Not that it's bad for white by any means, but
I think Black was just very happy. And in a blitz game, playing against the isolated pawn when white has really no initiative is really comfortable. And you can see that white struggles to find moves, and that's why he played so slowly.
Exactly. So after 5, Randy ahead by 3 points. So in order for Team Rex to even it up, he has to win this game.
Absolutely. Last game coming up is huge for Team Rex. They absolutely need to win. And we go up to Maurice Ashley for Game 6.
Well, Black has finally won a game, and this is a critical game, of course, for Team Rex. They are down 3-2. Rex has made errors in the last 2 games, but now it's time for the bounce back. Let's get to the players. Randy, you've got to be feeling good. Your team is giving you incredible support.
They have been, Wesley and Yasser are 2 of the best coaches in the world. I swear to God, they made me comfortable. They give me great advice. Let's see what Dad does with this one.
All right, Rex, you've got to win this one to continue the battle. What are your thoughts clearing your head from the last 2 games?
I don't want to face Jennifer Shahadi losing with the black pieces. Therefore, we're going to win with the black pieces.
Bold.
It's really simple.
Bold prediction by Rex. Well, we'll see what happens now. If there's a victory by Rex side and there's a tie, we don't do ties here in the club. We'll have a playoff game to break the tie, but at the moment, we'll see what is decided. Game 6 with all to play for about to begin.
This is like the NBA Finals, but we have super home court advantage. That's right. Yeah, we have the white team. Simple chess.
And there you go, and the game has begun. Knight to F3. Another solid move.
Yeah.
And C5 played.
Very aggressive. Yeah.
Looking for some aggression, and now to Fee and Keto as well. And we see both sides, Fee and Keto, their queen side, their king side pieces.
Randy is playing like Magnus.
And C4, hyper-symmetrical position as Wesley So jumps in with Garry Kasparov. We played D4, and this is the position Garry has played many times in his career. He's very comfortable here.
Position 2 days ago. No equality.
Wesley's trash talking is intense right now, and the black queen penetrating into the position with threats. Move C5. That was. And now B6 by Garry as Anand sits down and Fabiano Caruana into the chair.
I was very careful. Almost dropped. I know.
And
wow.
Bishop F4, ostensibly a pawn sacrifice, which has now been accepted, and A3 chasing the queen back. And the deep concept of how to win that pawn back by Anand. And now the C5 pawn's about to go.
And out against the draw.
And now queen D5.
Oh. She's feeling funky.
Yes. A claim of repetition was possible according to Levon, but Vichy avoiding it, playing for advantage, and now D6.
One last move. Oh.
That was 5, and Anand now up from the board.
Bravo, Vichy.
You keep suggesting moves for the other side constantly. And it is now Vasily Topolov's turn. Vasily putting in a fine performance in the tournament, in the Sinquefield Cup. Nakamura coming back at the end with a great win. A tense opening position right now. The move knight to B4.
Very much understanding, yes.
Too much understanding.
And now rook to C8, guarding his knight that was under attack. Time is going to be a factor again. Not really, because they're both over 4 minutes this time. No much time spent, and now a knight sinking itself on the D5 square. White looking like he has an optical edge for sure in this position at least. And the knight takes, yet again.
No draw.
How many moves, Mike?
And now rook F8. One more move for both sides.
One more bone-crushing move.
Remember, a win by White secures the entire tournament. He just played bishop to F3. And now bishop to G4. And Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, the number 2 player in the world, now in the chair. It's his turn to figure out what to do. Can he secure the victory for his team? A trade of light square bishops. Black with a small edge now on the clock as white is stopping to think about the position. Looks like a grandmaster game going on right now. Very solid chess. And they are looking to see, is there any opportunity for advantage? Can white stabilize everything and pull off the win? A draw is all they need, in fact, and white will win the match.
Active. Well, if don't worry. If draw is all we need, it's fine because we play.
Come on. Go. Of course.
And
You're an
now
active guy.
rook to C1.
We need to boost Maxim's confidence. Let's go, Maxim. Let's go, Maxim. Maxim. That's how I want.
And now knight d5, trading off a pair of rooks is white.
We were bluffing.
tricky.
Very good.
And now the bishop retreating to attack the knight. After this will be one move, and now queen to c4. This is looking like a serious chess game. Lots of time on the clock in an interesting position.
Somebody's getting outplayed here. And it's not you, and it's not me. That's fine.
Knight back to f4 as Anish claims that someone is getting it outplayed. And Levon sits down as Anish gets ready to make his last move, and it's rook to b8, applying pressure to the b pawn, and Ding Liren, I believe still rated the #1 blitz player in the world, sitting down, and Levon Aronian.
Rating does not mean anything.
And black with some activity for sure in this position. And now bishop takes a trade in b4 and e5, and Ding playing quickly.
I know it was too aggressive for your
Knight b5. I'm sorry, Yasser, but today you can trash talk me. I'm playing like a god.
If I may say so myself.
As they say, you don't praise yourself, nobody will praise you.
In your case, this is correct.
And queen to c2 by black, looking to gain tons of space, penetration into the position.
Make a draw.
No, if they make us, we will.
Black must win the game. It's a must-win situation. Black keeping the edge on the clock as well. He's got a monster bishop on d4, looking for some potential in the game. And now white's clock is ticking down, only 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Will white be able to sustain this pressure by black? And now e3, chasing the bishop out of the d4 square. And it's Yasser's turn to sit down. Bishop to b6, and Peter's Fiddler joins the fray as well. As Yasser stops to think about how to handle black's initiative as it grows. And a trade, and now a4 by Yasser, looking to take advantage of the 2-1 on the queen side. Now rook to d2. The knight lacking security and now under attack, needing to find a good square, but there are no forward squares forthcoming.
Backward squares are fine.
Backward squares are forthcoming, I think.
And there's
You can't go in one direction, you go in the other.
And now a minute deficit on the clock for white as he's
Come on, Yas.
hungry for a move, and he's playing
Yes.
knight.
Where are you going?
It's a secret. It's too deep.
It's the wrong direction.
This is a good move. This is a very good move.
He's going to a place called
Go for the league of
This is the move of God.
Anish, it's too deep for you. Come on.
We have a draw. You guys want to draw?
This is a move of God. No, let them beg for a draw.
And now the move a5.
Yeah.
a5. And now that's it. Yasser has to get up. It looks as though Peter's Fiddler has secured a pawn. And the question is, what will happen now? We've seen some strange things happen in this pairing. We'll see what happens now as it is Randy's turn. He's going to move rook to b1.
Think.
Hey, don't pressurize Rick.
All right, here we go. 141. Lots of time on the clock for Rex. And he has played the move bishop to b4, critically guarding the d6 pawn, keeping the pressure in the position, and it is now up to Randy. Can he come up with any kind of counterplay in this position? He's played rook to d5.
This is good. It's a good move. This is a great move.
And Rex now collecting a pawn. Black is ahead by a pawn in this position. Technically, is it enough to win? It's not clear.
Oh, yes.
Rook now. Rook.
It's nothing.
Rook to b5. I believe that's 3 moves. Rex to make 3 more moves with ample time on the clock, and he's solidified his bishop on the c5 square.
Any move is good.
123 to white. We've only seen one game get past the time control. Only one get past this pairing. Only once. Will we get to see the other players come back in? As 4 games have ended in this pairing. Garry Kasparov hungry to sit back down and continue the game. One more move for Randy, one more move for Rex, and we'll see the GMs. 2 more for Rex, my apologies. And he's made his move now down to one that's a check. And he's moved out, and now it is Rex's turn once more. No suggestions. No suggestions. Rex now at 143. Lots of time still.
Extra pawn, more time. Life is good. It's a beautiful place, beautiful city. Nice chess club.
And Rex thinking carefully now. 130, his clock is ticking. And he has gone to the 7th rank. And now it is Garry Kasparov finally able to sit back down in the chair versus Wesley So, feeling very good about himself. And it's on. Now he's feeling really good about the situation, as this one will win more material after knight to c4. And Kasparov feeling great, as Wesley So not happy at all with the position. All right, they are realizing they're going to lose what looks like lots of material, and the position is going to be not just 1, but maybe 3 pawns after this last move by Wesley. Wesley looking desperately for a way to continue, but this one does not look good. I don't see any chances, as they're about to lose not a pawn. They're going to lose 2 more pawns, it looks like, and he's going to be down 3 pawns with just about no chances. This move, Kasparov sniffing it out. And now he's defended the position. Kasparov showing some bravado with 1:16 extra time on the clock. So Wesley has found a way to save the 2nd pawn, but it is not looking pretty right now. Save the 3rd pawn, that is. Down 2 extra pawns.
Never surrender. We will fight in the beaches, in the streets. We will fight everywhere. Never surrender.
Never surrender as we go, but here F5, and that's it. And Garry Kasparov's turn to make the final move. It will be Vishy's turn to defend with white. Kasparov flexing, but he's only down to 55 seconds. It's not a lot of time on the clock. Black is absolutely winning. There's no question about that. And he's just captured on g4 with check with a smile, satisfied smug, as now it is Fabiano Caruana's turn. Can he close the door on white and tie the game, tie the match, and force a tie break? He has just 40 seconds left on the clock, and he's played the move rook to d2.
Vishy, don't resign.
Fight.
They won't will.
Not resign. Fight.
I'm not resigning. Somebody else is going to do it.
And now bishop takes, and now 3 pawns down suddenly is white.
No, I will not do it.
Someone will have to.
Clearly a completely winning position for black, and now h5 check, and king g3, and this looks just over. And Topalov saying he's not resigning. 25 seconds left. Nakamura understands these type of positions. King f8. And now how to win looks pretty academic. This position is going to be some kind of chicanery is going to have to happen. 5 moves played, and now check, and now it's MVL with white. They're forcing each other to show technique.
I have to say, he has seen. I hope it goes.
And now king to f2.
This is theoretical draw, no?
Okay, your position.
I know better. And now a few more moves played, a few moves repeated, and that's 5. That's 5. You cannot move any more. The challenge will be, will it get back to Team Rex? And will it get back to Rex and Randy? That could be a factor in the game as they try to slow things down. And now he's giving away this pawn on G6, and now not down as much as before, but look, 5 has been played. 5 has been played, and now it is Yasser and Peter's Fiddler. There's only one chance, one remote chance, it seems, for White is if they can get it back to Rex and Randy, and hopefully the amateurs don't finish the job right. But it's 11 seconds left for Yasser, a 3-second increment, king to E5.
Three more.
And now a pass pawn is on the board, a mate threat that he's dealt with, D2 check, and now, and that's it. Queen check, Randy. It is Randy and Rex's turn. Randy's turn, and now Rex with 24 seconds in the position. What? No talking, no talking. The move has been made. It's up to you, Rex. Rex has 18 seconds on his clock to 2 seconds. 2 seconds on the clock for Randy, and now E2 on the board. A check has been played, king over. Another check has been played, harassing the king. And yet another check, playing quickly. That's it. And now H6 on the board. 1 second left for White. He cannot allow his clock to fall, unfortunately.
Who's next? You.
And now a rook. Vichy has to come, but it's bypassed. And now with a 3-second, and that is it. The time has run out. And the game is over. What a comeback for Rex's team. The score is tied. We're going to work out the tie breaks. They're now tied up, knotted up. Black won 2 in a row after not winning any of the first 4 games. They're knotted up. We'll see what the tie break is like. I think they have something funky planned. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
I really think that game showed you might need a little bit more than 3-second delay, because it seemed like physically the players are having trouble swapping out for that last part.
You gotta be faster.
Yeah.
But it was actually, we've seen a lot of blunders in the Rex-Randy pairing, but it was actually Wesley So that had the final blunder of this game. He sat down on the board, and in this position, he decided to blitz out knight c4. He didn't even sit down, he just blitzed out knight c4. Huge mistake, as Garry Kasparov put down the rook on c2, and suddenly Wesley realized that this rook is attacking the knight. If the knight moves, the bishop takes this pawn, which is not guarded by this pawn because of this rook pinning against the king, and there is just no good move here. He's down too much material, made it so easy for Team Rex. Had he played the move knight f1, perhaps he could have survived later into the endgame. Of course, still a very good position for Black, up a pawn, but hey, this could have gone either way.
Absolutely, and yeah, Randy and Rex actually both played the endgame okay.
No,
Randy was trying to relocate the knight and save himself. Rex put the rook on a2.
I think they did really well. Absolutely. The position before this, as Jen is explaining, they actually played this part of the game quite well, positioning the rook on d5, trying to activate the knight, trying to activate the rook. The knight came here. I thought it was a good move. Knight g5 was also possible, making g2, but it's not usual that the mistake here came from the winner of the Sinquefield Cup.
Well, will they come back? We are going to have some kind of tiebreak, so we'll get the details on what that is in just a second. And we actually have Tony Rich to explain it to us in just a little bit. But let's take a look at the score as we go into the tiebreak of Ultimate Moves. The father-son showdown ends in the most exciting way. We didn't have it in the Sinquefield Cup, but we got it in Ultimate Moves.
3-on-3. What a match it's been so far, going back and forth. No team has had more than a point lead at any point. It's just incredible chess here.
That's right. And I think that there were just like some really great games in this match so far. The one that really stands out to me, though, is that second game where Maxime played bishop takes a6. Like,
oh, yes, absolutely.
That was amazing. This game was pretty good, too. I mean, if you look at some of the moves that that Black played to kind of increase his advantage, I like the way Ding Loren played. He played very quickly, and he really utilized the fact that Black was just better in that position. White didn't have a lot of counterplay. Black had that nice bishop 1 G7 and the c-file.
There is a reason Ding Liren is the #1 blitz player in the world, even ahead of Magnus Carlsen. I mean, the guy's just a monster when it comes to blitz, and he's just showing it. He plays really, really good moves.
And I think he's starting to understand a little bit more of this tag team chess. I don't think he really got it in the first couple games, and he played a little bit too slowly.
Yes.
But this game, he played quickly and well. And we've got Tony and Maurice to explain how this tiebreak is going to work.
Now I'm hearing a format that I've never seen before in any professional competition, maybe not even amateur competitions. Please, Tony, Rich, explain to us what you guys have devised.
So the tiebreak for all the marbles will be one game where the players will alternate every single move. You only make one move at a time. Now, since it's so much commotion, we've increased the time limit. It'll be 10 minutes with a 3-second delay. Each player will make their one move and then rely on their teammates to follow up.
Incredible format. It's going to be a gangsters lineup. We'll see how it transpires here as we're about to begin the tiebreak game in just a few minutes.
Might as well move the chairs out of the way. Why even have them there? Only one move per player. That is just some mind-boggling chess. Imagine so many ideas coming, trying to get them to come together, actually.
I actually think you're right, though, Halandra. I think they should do this standing. I think it would make more sense. But, of course, you'd have to get a different type of table. But I do think that would make more sense. And here, I think you're right. I would probably pick Levon as the setup guy.
For Rex?
For Randy.
For Randy, yes.
For Rex, I don't know who I would pick. Probably either Fabi or Hikaru. I just think they get him more. You know, they've spent a lot of time here. They live in St. Louis. I think they would, and they also have a lot of experience with American chess. I think they might be the best picks. What do you think?
Well, I think they're not going to have a choice. We are almost on the game, and I think, well, Rex and Randy, they only get to play one move, not 5. So, I mean, as long as they play an okay move, they'll just keep the game going. They have to not blunder. That's going to be the key.
Well, that's why the setup is so important for both Peter and Yasser, who set them up to try to see if they can make a move that might make Randy or Rex make a blunder or at least take a lot of time and influence the rest of the game.
And the players now have a lot more time to think, but it's going to be weird because only one move to make. What do you really think about?
I think, yeah, it's going to be, well... Yeah, because you're going to feel guilty if you're the one who spends like a whole minute. Yeah, that is like, I think that's one of the issues, and that's why you've seen mistakes even from players like Hikaru. You mentioned not seeing that tactic that he would normally see in a blitz game, and we also saw that mistake by Wesley. Nobody wants to be the one to leave Randy or Rex in the lurch with hardly any time, but that also creates more blunders.
Nobody wants to be the villain here, as it's for all the marbles. Tie-break game coming up.
That's right. I can't wait to see this one. This one's really going to be a crowd pleaser. And I guess, I guess there aren't very many draws in this format. That's the point.
I cannot imagine that a game like this ends in a draw, but you never know.
This was the most likely one, right? I mean, it could have ended in a draw in certain circumstances. At least there were a lot of trades, and you can imagine that somehow something goes wrong, and there were further trades. But it is very unlikely in this format.
Yeah. See, as the players are setting up, see what's going on. It seems like they're almost ready there. I see everybody standing up, though. I don't really think there's chairs.
Yeah, maybe they are. Maybe they are getting rid of the option of chairs. I think they might have taken your advice, Alejandro. And we've got Maurice with the start of the game, so he'll explain.
And we are in the critical tie-break game. It is tied at 3-3 right now. This is for all the marbles. If the game is a draw, we're going to run it back. We don't play that in these parts. No ties. It is now a lot of pressure on these players. It's never gone this far. Rex, how are you feeling? Your team came back to tie it up. What do you think are your chances in the last game?
Almost 100%.
Why would you think that?
Because look at my team. How are you going to beat these guys? Look at their team. How can they win?
Randy, as usual, your dad is modest. What are your chances in this one?
It sounds like he's ready to shoot himself in the foot with that overconfidence here. Let's see what happens.
All right, let's indeed see what happens. The players are shaking hands, and the game has begun. Remember, one move at a time as the players come in and out. I've never seen such physical activity in a chess, and somehow it's the Berlin anyway. It's still a Berlin. And D3 avoiding the typical endgame as they have traded And Aronian coming in playing bishop d6. This was seen actually in the Sinquefield Cup during one of the rounds. And I think it was Peter's Fiddler actually who had white against Anand in the tournament. And now castles by Randy and castles by Rex. And now it's Kasparov's turn to come up with a move. And d4 still looking very much like the game that was played between Fiddler and Anand. And here comes Anand as queen takes d4, changing the character of the position, bishop to c5. Now attacking the queen. It is Nakamura's turn. The players also have to strategize. They have to watch the game and stay in line as well. So far, playing quickly, the first bit of hesitation by Nakamura as he looks to find a place for his queen, and he's dropped back to d3. And now rook to e8 was played. Bishop to g5, attacking the queen. f6, chasing the bishop away. Here comes Ding Liren with his bishop now dropping back to f4. It's Aronian's turn to come in, and here comes Peter's Fiddler as Aronian considers the position. Hard to play when you only get one move and the other player cannot continue and follow up with your ideas. And quoting Eminem is Anish Giri, one shot, one opportunity, and he's stopping, and he's now saying the arms are sweaty. Well, they got a lot of time on the clock. There's plenty of time to play this game. Remember, it's a 10-minute game.
No, but on the surface he looks calm already, yeah? No.
And now queen e7, and I think the players now have slowed down and realized how much time they do have on the clock, and this has been one of the more classical games so far. Really interesting position as Peter's Fiddler stops to look at this position. He is looking quite comfortable. This format is unusual. Naka, what do you think about this format? It's pretty crazy. Have you ever done something like this before?
No, but I think we're doing very well, and I think we're going to win. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Normally confident Nakamura saying white is doing really well. This position is indeed a deep one. Lots of possibilities in this case. Black still yet to develop his queen side while white has some space. And as Fiddler going into a deep think. This is the first deep think right now in the game. And he has taken this pawn on c7. He has captured a pawn boldly, taking this pawn, and Yasser staring at the board now, trying to figure out what to do. And he has taken the pawn on e4. Now it is Rex's turn. And it is Rex's turn to move.
Discover right idea. Discover right idea. I just said discover right idea.
And now Rex trades queens in the position. Now a very solid position for black, taking on c7, and this is not what white wanted out of the position. And Kasparov now penetrating to the d6 square. This game looks like it's sort of equalized, more or less. Everything looks very solid here.
No, we're better. Do you want the draw? No. Yeah, we start over. Yeah, I'm just asking.
And now bishop takes d6. This is a kind of endgame these guys would draw in their sleep. No question about that. But it seems like Maxim feels that this is a tricky endgame.
Yeah, I mean, you need to realize that not because there's opposite colored bishops, it's equal pawns, but black is more active, simply. More active where? Everywhere. The knight on b6 is going to be dominated by 2 pawns at some point, and then he's going to suffer. Yes. And he's going to regret all what he said because he's going to look stupid. I had a dream.
All right, well, we'll see. This position does not look like much, but they are going to continue to play it, and Nakamura are trying to figure out how to maybe realize some advantage out of the position. Refusing the draw. Black is confident that they've equalized the position. I would agree as well. This does not look like much happening here for white.
No, we're better. Okay, better is ridiculous, but we need one move. We're one move too short from. Now we're clearly better. This is a strange move, yeah, but okay, fine.
Yes, maestro.
Double pistol and then, squeeze.
Anish, do you understand the positional position?
Look, always this changes. Attack.
Here he didn't seem happy with the last move, and now criticizing his opponents yet again.
Partners, not a
His partners, that's correct.
Chess. It doesn't matter who's the partner, who's the enemy. It's chess.
But it's positional.
Ah, you got the idea.
The position is too positional for him. I can see that.
He tried to
And a sharp continuation.
No, I mean, I got two. Great move.
Very sharp continuation. Looks threatening for White. However, there are some tactical possibilities that he has analyzed.
Positional position.
Yeah, like this.
And now a retreat by the rook away from the f3 threat. And both sides seem to be confident in their position for being better. It seems unlikely that that is the case. And again, lots of time now, the knight dropping back to the b3 square.
So, what do we need?
Svidler coming in, and then it will be Rex's turn to play. So far, just the position, and knight to c4.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Wrong square.
We're going to cut your knight with the pawns.
The concept in this type of position is that the knight on a4 would dominate our knight on b3.
But the knight on c4 so that.
Even better.
It doesn't.
Knight on c4 better.
It doesn't dominate the bishop.
Doesn't dominate anything.
Perfect.
And now,
Bravo.
Easy, like maestro.
and now Rex's turn.
Hey, don't do that. No, it doesn't matter. It's not mine.
Exactly.
Don't have to be a cheat.
Trying to throw off his opponent, as usual, is Aronian.
Because
We're competitors.
Lots of time on the clock for Rex Sinquefield to try to figure out this position, see all the threats, and make a move. This game, certainly an intriguing one. This is for all the marbles are now f3, attacking the bishop on g4. Garry Kasparov to follow as Randy Sinquefield now thinking about his move.
Whoa,
And now f5, attacking the pawn on c2 twice.
He's the man.
I feel like Vladimir Kravnik right now.
And Kasparov going deep into a calculation right now. And bishop back to c3. Indirectly defending the pawn on c2. The tactical idea here looks like that position, that move looks like it holds up White's position and defends. And Wesley is clear on that. It looks like that White feels that they're safe right now. Garry, looks like you made a nice move there.
The bishop on the position where it's defended, so solid. By the way, look, he's thinking, yes? It's a good move.
Where's Vladimir when you need him?
And now knight to e3, rook f2, quickly play.
Rookie one. Play rookie one.
Which rook?
And now it looks like potentially.
What a move. But that's the draw at the end. Yeah.
And White is down a pawn for the moment. White currently down a pawn, but can he maintain the balance?
No.
Knight to d4, forcing rook takes f2, king takes f2, and now knight to c2.
Now show technique.
Yeah.
So Black seems as though he has secured a pawn advantage Black is up, certainly ahead, but can he win with the presence of the opposite colored bishops on the board as the knights have traded off? And Svidler comes and brings his rook to the e-file. White with a disadvantage, but it's going to take some technique on Black's part to prove anything at all as Rex comes to the table, as does Randy. Again, 4 minutes and 30 seconds for White, 7 minutes for Black.
No, but we'll start an attack here.
Good
So it's
that
fine.
we found all the winning moves.
We'll start.
Not so loud. I think everyone's afraid of what Rex is going to
Bishop to B4 by Rex Sinquefield, initiating a very active threat in the position. And it looks like White is thrilled by this defensive plan, which in fact is a very aggressive plan. Looks like attack is the best defense. And king to G6, avoiding that check. It is now Kasparov's turn, and the rook is now down on the 7th rank, B6, defending the pawn on B7, and now it is Fabiano Caruana, who played G4, controlling the black king somewhat. Nakamura coming in as Anand considers the position. A5, and the bishop back to C3, and this is still looking quite drawish to my eyes, but Black has an extra pawn, but White has plenty of compensation by way of his active pieces.
I think White is better, practically speaking, in this position. Because I'm going to start an attack on the kings very soon.
That was one of the more interesting comments all day. Rook G8, very solid looking move. And now F4, a big move with the pawns.
Big mistake. Big mistake.
And Black is clear that this is not an easy position at all to play, with White getting all this initiative. And H3 on the board. And Svidler coming on. Aronian trying to figure this out. Clearly, Black is not happy with how this is transpiring, or they have to figure out exactly what to do as the trades have happened. And now it is Yasser Surawan with 6 minutes left. Rex Sinquefield to move next. No suggestions or grunts. Involuntary noises not allowed.
Remember how those guys move, Yasser?
And now rook to D8 is on the board. And Rex Sinquefield now back in the saddle. 3 minutes and 46 seconds left. And he's played F5 check. And this looks very active. Very active for White.
Yeah, he's white. He's right.
And he has backed out of check. But this hangs the F-pawn, and suddenly Black is in trouble despite the presence of the opposite colored bishop. And this move, very difficult to handle. Rook G7 check. That king move has now compromised Black tremendously, and only move to not just die immediately. And king to G3. White now on top for sure, but can he conclude this game as Anand now attacks the pawn on A2?
Make sure nobody remembers him playing
Now Nakamura, knowing they have a real edge here, Naka trying to find the knockout blow.
When our strongest players join.
And bishop back to C3, quiet retreat, but with a lot of poison. 5 minutes on the clock. Vasily Topalov takes the pawn, and now Black is again up a pawn. Black is ahead by a pawn. And hesitating is Garry before playing G5 with some force. 2 minute edge almost on the clock for Black. Dinglerin comes in. Maxim Vasilograf thinking about the move. Critical game. The winner wins the match. And tremendous pressure on the Black King side. Nothing to move, totally tied down, and how to make any progress extraordinarily difficult for Black, as his pieces just don't seem to have any possibilities here. And disconsolate Frenchman playing bishop to b3.
Your moves have been so meaningful.
And now check to the Black King, and that King looks like it's getting caged horribly on that square. Where to go? And he has retreated, and Peter's fiddler licking his chops as Yasser Seirawan comes in shaking his head. Can't be happy with the situation now. It is White's game to win. And f6 has been played, and it looks like they're not happy. And Garry Kasparov animated, not happy with that last move, as it's going to be Rex Sinquefield's move next. Why are they complaining? It's hard to imagine, as Kasparov is not happy with what the last move, that transpired on the board, angry at his teammate there. Now rook to d8. It is now Rex's turn in a tense position, a big edge, no question for White. Will he find a great continuation here? Challenging moment, time not a factor right now. And he's played rook takes g7, a devastating shot, keeping all the advantages in the position. As now Team Rex with two passed pawns, a king in deep trouble, and a happy Garry Kasparov, as clearly White in total control of this position. This looks over. It's hard to stop the mating threats that are coming on the board. The Black King stuck in the corner.
I have to protect my capital.
And it resigned the game has White, and the winner of the match, Rex Sinquefield. Team Rex has won that game. Congratulations to Team Rex.
Randy has overperformed by a mile.
Yes.
He played really well.
He did.
So,
There you go.
Really?
Well, the players
He either makes a blunder or a great move. But eventually, we're lucky that in the last game, he made only great moves.
Rex, your last game proved to be your best of all. How's it feel to win the rubber match against your son?
I feel like the blind squirrel who found a walnut.
Well, the win goes to Dad today. Rex Sinquefield, the champion of Ultimate Moves. Certainly was an entertaining match. We hope you enjoyed it. Back to you in the studio.
Well, that game seemed like it might be a little bit dull, but then it kind of blew up.
Well, just one wrong move in an opposite color bishop endgame is all it takes for it to look very, very dangerous. Randy, with this move, King H7, just got himself into so much trouble, because after the check that was given by Rex, he had pretty much the choice of any move. King G5, I think, is kind of okay, but looks really dangerous to go forward. Simply King H6 was probably the easiest. The idea is that Bishop D2 check, first of all, is not really possible because of the rook, but even if it was, it's really not that dangerous. Instead, the move King H7.
Right, because then your king goes back to H7, and we're no longer threatening Bishop C3.
That's right, Bishop F6. And after Bishop F6, even for grandmasters, this position is impossible to play. Black's king is just getting mated over and over again in the variations. The rook had to go to G8, but you can see how passive Black is. At the end of the day, what the difference was, Rex outplayed Randy in the final game.
That's right, Bishop B4 was a good move, putting some pressure on. And let's take a look at the final score, 4-3. Really a fun format, Alejandro.
And a close match. What a close match. Even the last game, Black was ahead for most of it, had an extra pawn, was pushing, and it came down to the wire.
That's right, and Levon said that his team overperformed, and I know what he means because a lot of the superstar blitz players were actually on Rex's team. But I think the team spirit was really admirable.
And I think that actually both Randy and Rex played great chess today. I think they've come a long way from blundering queens and making illegal moves to actually executing excellent attacks, playing really good moves overall. I think they played the best chess I've seen them play.
Yeah, well, it keeps getting better here at the Sinquefield Cup and at Ultimate Moves, but we are part of something even bigger, the Grand Chess Tour, and that gets started again in December.
Absolutely. We go to London for the London Chess Classic starting December 8th. That's going to be an exciting event. Wesley So going into London with a huge bonus. What is it, a 10-point lead?
A commanding lead, only Nakamura can stop him.
Only Nakamura can mathematically stop him, and that's by winning the tournament. If Nakamura doesn't win the tournament, Wesley So pretty much guarantees himself the Grand Chess Tour victory.
Well, thank you all for watching us these last 2 weeks, especially today. It really was a ball. Signing off for the whole team here with Spectrum Studios and the St. Louis Chess Club, I'm Jennifer.
Thanks for watching.